All right, this is Dan Meehan for Fight News Australia, and today we have Aidan Aguilera who fights Jack Becker at Coastal Combat 9 on April 17th. Aidan, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all. Thanks for stopping by. First off, I believe some congratulations are in order. I saw you received your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt a couple of weeks back. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how it felt to finally get there?
Yeah, came as a bit of a surprise. I definitely wasn't expecting it, and it's one of those things where, like, I think it's probably pretty normal, but I always hold myself to a pretty high standard. So I'm got a bit of imposter syndrome going on, but I'm hoping to be able to prove myself worthy in competition soon enough. But I've been training jiu-jitsu for probably about 15 or 16 years now. And I did the whole go to Brazil thing, live there for a couple of months and train full time and stuff like that. So I've spent a long time on it, but it definitely has been a focus for the last 5 or 6 years or so. But it's always been something I've been doing in the background. Mainly no-gi. I barely do the gi anymore, but I do a lot of no-gi, like almost every day. So yeah, it's a trip. It's still sinking in. I think it's something that I'll definitely want to put some time into by itself once the MMA career is over and just focus on that. But at the moment, I've only got a limited time frame that I can fight in. So it's definitely something I'll come back to and take more seriously once fighting's done.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you've probably paid your dues there. If you've been training, as you say, for 15 or 16 years and you've made the pilgrimage to Brazil, then yeah, I think you've probably done everything you can to qualify there.
Thank you, mate. It's one of those things where if I'm going to do something, I want to be the best at it. So lots of improvements I want to make, but we'll get there in time.
Yeah, that's a good way to be, I guess. So, like many fighters, you've been out of action since 2019, presumably due to COVID. I spoke to your teammate Matt Myers a couple of days ago, and he mentioned you guys had some sort of secret training sessions while the lockdowns were going on. Can we expect any sort of improvements or changes to your game that you've sort of made from training without the pressures of a fight camp?
100%. It was a weird time for everyone, I think. But what it did for me was it took the emphasis wasn't about getting ready for a specific style or getting in good shape. It was just about training for the love of it. So I got to work on a bunch of stuff that I guess I didn't really have time to work on for the past 4 or 5 years. So I feel like you're going to see a very, very different version of me coming into this one.
Awesome. Is there any sort of particular changes we can expect, or just wait and see?
There's definitely some specific stuff I'm thinking of, but I'll keep that under my belt until the bell rings. You'll probably figure it out pretty quickly once it starts.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I tried, but yeah. Obviously, got to keep your cards close to your chest. Don't you? Never know who's watching.
Exactly.
So, in your last fight, you fought at the UAE Warriors against UFC veteran Alan Omar. So, while the fight didn't go your way, can you tell us a little bit about how that fight came about and your experience over there?
So from my understanding, it was I was scouted off of a fight from Hex. The guy they were looking for an opponent for Alan, and he's got a very good record, so not many people wanted to take it. And I was fresh off a loss against a good international opponent. They're offering good money, and it was a really big name. And I thought, yeah, screw it, why not? I'm already off a loss. This is a time to take a risk, I'm not about padding my record with bums. So went over there, had an awesome experience. Got to get my hands on him a couple of times, and he was a lovely guy, and he's off in Bellator now, killing it. So good for him. Yeah, I'm glad to know that. Like, I stung him pretty hard, and he made a point of letting me know after the fight that I'd gotten him, and I feel like I've got the power to hurt anyone at this weight division. Doesn't matter where they're from. So it didn't go my way, but it was an awesome experience. I'll definitely do it again, and yeah, huge confidence boost.
Awesome. Now, as mentioned off the top, you're booked to fight Jack Becker at Coastal Combat. You're originally scheduled to fight David Martinez for the belt, I believe. So, how disappointing was that cancellation, and how disruptive is it to switch opponents a few weeks out?
I was pretty bummed out because I've never pulled out of a fight in my life. It's one of those things. We never go in 100%, but whatever. It is what it is. Interesting thing about it is that grappling wise, I don't want to say they're kind of similar in the sense that they both have the same end goal of getting to the back. Yeah, they both like to take backs, but I think Jack Becker is a bit scarier an opponent grappling wise and far more versatile than Martinez. Martinez he's got a good trick on him, I'll say that, but he's a one trick pony. He's a very kind of one dimensional fighter, whereas Becker's a bit more of a threat in the feed. and he's probably a bit stronger, and he's got a lot more threats on the ground. So it's kind of like a similar-ish style, but I think Becker's a much more difficult opponent. So you know, I'm always up for the big names in the division. I feel like he's definitely one of them. He's probably the most underrated guy in the lightweight division in the country.
Brilliant. And how much do you know about him? I'm told you're the type of guy to watch a lot of tape. So how do you feel you match up against with him?
I think it's going to be a fun fight. It's not. Don't expect it to be easy. I know he's changed camps, so the old version of him, I think I would have had it all over him on the feet. But he's been at scrappy MMA for a while under Ben Vickers, and they've got some great strikers there like Jack Becker and Danielle Williams, who just fought in ONE FC against Rod Tang and killed it. He did awesome. So I'm expecting him to have made a bunch of improvements there. I know he was off at TriStar for a little bit because I've got a couple of training partners that were there with him. So I'm definitely expecting him to come in a new version of himself as well. He hasn't fought in ages. So yeah, it's just one of those things where, I don't like to have too strict a game plan. Just go in there and get to it. Just embrace the chaos and have some fun.
Sounds good. How's training camp been?
Yeah, awesome. Really, really good. Yeah, I feel really fit. It's, I guess, coming off of a big layoff was cool. Like, it was interesting to see how the weight would be, given that I haven't had to cut weight in 2 years. But it hasn't been an issue, which is great. So I'm just itching to get in there now.
Awesome. And when you lie in bed at night, how do you visualize the fight going? How do you get your hand raised?
It's hard to say. There's a lot of different ways. As I said before, I truly believe I have the power to put anyone in their butt in this way. And I definitely have the skill to be able to find the button. It's just whether or not I can find it. And having said that, on the ground, he's a great grappler, but I feel like I'm a very underrated grappler myself, And in the wrestling, it's one of those things. He's probably stronger than I am, but I feel like I'm probably a little bit more technical in the actual wrestling side of things. Like, I used to wrestle all through high school. So I'm excited just to get in there and just take whatever comes and just go with the flow. I don't have any set plan for how I'm going to do it.
Sounds good. And after April 17th, what are your plans for the rest of the year? Do you sort of plan to stay active, or maybe get that Coastal Combat belt?
Yeah, well, it's having that long layoff wasn't ideal. I would have loved to have pumped out as many fights as I could have last year, given that I've just turned 30. So I really want to give it a good run for the next 3 or 4 years. So I'll be pumping out. If I get through Becker, then Martinez is next if he can man up and make it through a camp.
All right. And now that you're matchmaking for Hex, do you sort of matchmake for yourself? Like, can you put yourself on a on a Hex card, or how does that sort of work?
It's one of those weird ones, right? So that's why I still for this one. If I find a fight that really makes sense and is a hard fight, then I'm happy to put it on Hex. But obviously, I don't want any, like, I care about my reputation. I've got an ego on myself. I don't want to make it look like I'm padding my record, picking my own fights. So the agreement we had when I signed on was that if I was to fight on the card, I'd have someone else match me. And that's still the agreement we have. We haven't come to that point yet because obviously I've had this fight booked. But in the future, if there's a really good fight, it's a hard fight, it's a fair fight, I'm happy to put it on, obviously. But I'll try and have someone else handle all that side of things. And the cool thing about it is it opens up opportunities to go fight in other organizations as well. And I'm happy to do that because I want all the best guys in Australia.
Awesome. And in the longer term, what are your goals in MMA? Like, where would you like to go with your career?
It's funny. It's like when I was younger, it was all UFC. And don't get me wrong, I'd still love to make it there. It's the biggest stage there is. And it's definitely a goal for everyone, I think. But if I can get to any big organization and have a good run there, I'll be stoked. I want to ride this train until the wheels fall off. And, there's so many good organizations out there, like Risen. I'd love to fight in Japan. Like, Risen would be a dream for me. Bellator is great. You got like stuff like ONE FC is also good. There's a lot of big opportunities out there. UAE Warriors was awesome. I'd love to go back there again. So I'll just, if I can travel the world and get into a bunch of fights and be known as a good fighter at the end of it, I'll be stoked.
Fantastic. Now, your day job is, I believe, teaching at Adrenaline MMA down in Cheltenham. You have a pretty active fight team down there these days, from what I can see. We spoke about Matt Myers before, but is there anyone else on the mats that we should be keeping an eye out for in the near future?
We've got a bunch of young and up and coming amateur guys, and they're all monsters. One pretty notable one is Val Sharapov is fighting on the same card as me and Matt in Coastal Combat, just a short notice fight, just a little Russian wrestler, and he's an animal. I think once he gets his confidence up, he's only had 3 fights now. So once he gets that confidence up and gets a good run going, he's going to be a problem for everyone. He's a little mini Khabib. But we have heaps of guys coming up. Some guys that haven't even turned amateur yet. Guys like Harry Chrysophus, Jake Turnbull. There's a bunch of good guys coming up that will be a problem in a couple of years.
Fantastic. We'll keep an eye out. Before I let you go, have you got any sponsors or anyone you'd like to shout out? I'll hand over to you.
At the moment, pretty clean. Because obviously I haven't been active for a while. But yeah, if you're ever interested in coming out and training at Adrenaline MMA in Cheltenham, just jump on our website, adrenalinemmafitness.com, and come visit us.
There you go. Sounds good. Might even take that up myself one day. You never know.
Please do.
No worries at all. Aidan, thank you so much for stopping by, and all the best on April 17th.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.